Welcome back to the Reading Corner here on Dreamers Defy. We are currently reading Vengeful by AJ Parnell. We are up to chapter 20 today. And as you well know, if you've been here any length of time, it's really getting good. We're right in the middle of it. If this is your first time here, I invite you, go back to the introduction video, start there, read with us until we get to this point. We will wait for you, as we always do. And go ahead and do that. There is a disclaimer there, and I want to do a disclaimer here too as well. This story does deal with some sensitive information, and by that I mean situations. So go back, watch the introduction video, and the book pretty well spells it out. But we're up to chapter 20. We are getting through it, and things are getting pretty good. So shall we just get right into it? Let's do it, shall we? All right, here we go. Vengeful, Chapter 20, Thoughts to Ponder. Detectives Rogers and Martinez pulled up to the university parking lot directly outside of Luke's night class. Seeing Luke's class through the building window, Rogers put the car in park, unbuckled his seatbelt, let it fall back against his seat, and killed the engine. Following suit, Martinez undid his seatbelt and settled back in the passenger seat before he checked his watch. 15 minutes to go. Good to see they taught you how to tell time at the academy, Rogers smirked. Rogers watched as Luke pointed to the whiteboard behind him and motioned to one of the students who was more than likely asking a question. So, Martinez, being your first missing persons case, what do you think? Did he do it? Peering past Rogers, Martinez watched Luke, his brow furrowed. Honestly, I don't know. Every time we try to pin him with a direct question, his body language says he's telling the truth. But then other telltales he gives off imply he's being deceptive. But in those cases, it's usually about things that shouldn't matter. Rogers nodded. Pretty good so far. And there was something off about Mr. Bolton, but like his young partner, he had not been able to figure it out just yet. Luke was most definitely hiding something. But if it had nothing to do with Miss Davies' disappearance, then what was he so worried about hiding? Impatient, Martinez pressed. What are your thoughts, old man? Good question. Rogers thought about it for a minute, still working it out. Last night, Rogers had gone to his local bar, a place he often went to when he needed some downtime from the job and his home life. It also put him in direct contact with others in his line of work, from beat cops to detectives, DEA, and others. This allowed him a chance to listen in on fellow officers' work and to catch up with old friends who might, in some cases, have a thin line of connectivity to his own case. Most of the time, it was a dry run, which still left him with a few good drinks and camaraderie, but last night he had one of those rare times when he hit a chord that might just play the whole concert of tunes and help him orchestrate his current case. I think with a little more time, Mr. Bolton might be willing to talk with us. Bored, Martinez laid his head against the seat and closed his eyes. You think? So far, he seems to be pretty tight-lipped, if you ask me. Musing, Rogers answered, I've got a feeling he has more to share. Especially after the intriguing conversation he had last night with Padella, a friend of his who was also lead detective with the DEA. Padella had dropped a surprising little note about Mr. Bolton. Seems the professor they were watching had a brother, neck deep working inside the drug cartel down in Mexico. A brother who not only would have no scruples about taking out a threat to his brother Luke, but who might also enjoy taking the woman and selling her to one of the sex trafficking ops he was more than likely involved with as well. 2 birds, 1 stone kind of a thing. But questions remained. Did Luke Bolton ask Landon Bolton to get rid of Abigail? Rogers watched as the students began gathering their things, getting out of their seats, and starting for the door. Sliding a few books into his bag, Luke looked up, spotted them sitting outside in their car, stilled for a moment, then pretended it as if he had not seen them and turned to wave at a few members of his departing class. "Looks like we've been spotted." Reaching for the door handle, Martinez piped in. "Then we better get in there before he does a quick exit himself." Already out of the car and headed for the building, Rogers called back to Martinez. "Waiting on you." Inside Luke's classroom, Landon tried in vain not to sweat as he wiped his hands on his jeans. Those two cops were like a dog with a bone. Why in God's name wouldn't they just leave him alone? No wonder his brother was so desperate to take care of the stupid bitch. That quack had made his brother's life a living nightmare. Turning to the remainder of his class, Landon grabbed his bag and started for the door, hoping he could get them and himself out of there before Dumb and Dumber cornered him again. "Come on, guys, that's it for tonight. Let's all go home." Foot tapping, Landon waited impatiently for the last student to exit the room before he hurriedly closed the door, making sure to lock it behind him. Scanning the hallway, he spotted the two detectives approaching the nearest door. Landon bolted in the other direction, surprising himself and the students alike. Damn it, he knew better than to panic like this. It would just make him, or worse, his brother, look guilty. Landon forced himself to slow down, turn, and wave at the students as he rounded the corner. "Sorry, got a new show starting on TV tonight, and I don't want to miss it." Lame excuse for sure, but from the understanding looks on the faces of Luke's students, it was obviously also an acceptable one. Safely out of sight of Rogers and Martinez, Luke hurried down the long hallway, made another turn, and ran headlong into Rex, causing the kids' papers to rain down upon them. "Wow, Professor, where's the fire?" Rex laughed as he knelt down and started gathering his papers. "Hey, man, why couldn't you ever remember this kid's name?" "Sorry, wasn't looking where I was going." Rex stuffed the loose papers back into his book and straightened. "No harm, no foul, Mr. Bolton." Eyes darting to the end of the hall, Landon started backing up. "I'd love to chat, but I've really got to." Disappointed, Rex frowned. "Oh, dang, I was hoping we could go check your classroom for my phone. I seem to have lost it again." Landon did not have time for this shit. "You know what? I didn't see it when I was locking up, but I'll check again tomorrow morning when I get in." Turning on his heels, he hurried for the door before Rex could come up with another plea for his device. Surprised, Rex stood there staring after him. "Oh, okay. Talk to you tomorrow then." Rushing out the door, Landon called back to Rex. "Night." "Night." Rex started down the hall back towards Mr. Bolton's class and came up short when he ran into the two detectives. Holding a hand up to Rex, Martinez asked, "Excuse me, but have you seen Professor Bolton?" Nodding toward the far door, Rex answered, "You just missed him." With nothing left to add, Rex continued on, leaving the two men to stare down at the offending door at the far end of the hall. "Well, that wasn't suspicious at all," Martinez smirked. "Should we go after him?" Tired of chasing his tail, Rogers shook his head. "No, we'll let him off the hook for tonight." "Then I guess we get to go home early for a change." Martinez's mood suddenly brightened as he led the way back to the parking lot. "Guess so," Rogers added, knowing full well that home was not the first stop he'd be making tonight. He would go by the station and start doing some more research. If he couldn't talk to Luke tonight, he could sure as hell do some digging into Landon. And that is the end of chapter 20. Seems like the old detective might actually have a lead on this one, huh? He's kind of figuring out that there is a Landon and there is a Luke. But which one is which? And which one is crazy and which one is sane? And what about Abigail? We didn't hear about her in this chapter, but that's okay. We'll be getting back to her soon. And what about the ghosts? Real? Or are they just in Luke's head? So many things. Such a good book. Tell me down below your thoughts and theories, and we'll discuss it further. And maybe we'll get to chapter 21 real soon. As a matter of fact, we are going to get to chapter 21. It's coming up next. Remember, we have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and usually on Sundays. So sometimes I'm going to try and fill in a little bit, especially as we get down to the nitty-gritty here. I want to get this one wrapped up. This story is so good. Let me know what you think down below. I've got some other books we're going to be getting to. If you have a suggestion, you can always email me, dreamersdefy@gmail.com. I'm always taking suggestions, especially if you know of an author or you are an author and you have a book you would like me to read. Let me know, and that would be a good thing. All right, we'll be back real soon with chapter 21 of Vengeful. Until then, get your own copy at Amazon. Read ahead if you want to, or read along with us. Either way, we'll see you next time. Dreamers Defy.